Good evening. Tonight, I want you to think about something most of us notice, but very few of us ever truly understand. Why does time seem to move faster the older we get? When you were a child, summer felt endless. A single school year seemed like an eternity. Waiting for your birthday felt impossible. Christmas seemed as though it would never arrive. But now, weeks disappear, months blur together, you blink, and another year has quietly passed. People often say, time flies, but perhaps time itself hasn't changed. Perhaps we have. Tonight, let's wander through that mystery together, not to solve it, but simply to understand it a little more. Imagine yourself at 10 years old. 1 year represented nearly 10% of your entire life. It was enormous. Every birthday was a significant chapter. Every summer, a lifetime of memories. Now imagine yourself at 50. 1 year is only 2% of your life. The same 12 months, the same 365 days, yet somehow they feel smaller, like a single page. Instead of an entire book, maybe time doesn't speed up. Maybe our perspective simply changes. Our minds are strange archivists. They don't measure time with clocks. They measure it with memories. Think back to your very first day of school, your first kiss, the first time you drove a car, your first apartment, the first paycheck that felt like freedom. You probably remember those moments vividly, not because they lasted longer, but because they were new. Novelty has a remarkable way of stretching time. Every unfamiliar experience demands attention. Your brain observes every detail, every sound, every smell, every emotion. It's building a map of a world it has never seen before. Children live surrounded by firsts. Adults often live surrounded by routines, and routine has a curious side effect. It makes time invisible. Imagine driving home from work. Have you ever arrived without remembering most of the drive? Not because you weren't paying attention, because your mind already knew the routine. The journey became automatic. Life can become like that. Wake up, brush your teeth, drink coffee, drive the same roads, answer the same emails, watch the same shows, sleep, repeat. Nothing is wrong with routine. It provides stability, comfort, peace. But routine also compresses memory. When every Tuesday resembles the last, your brain stores them together, not separately. When memories compress, time appears to accelerate, not because life became shorter, but because fewer moments stood apart. There's an old saying, the days are long, but the years are short. Perhaps that's the most honest sentence ever spoken about adulthood. Individual days can feel exhausting. Meetings, bills, responsibilities, laundry, groceries, deadlines. Yet somehow, December always arrives sooner than expected. Maybe that's because we're living. Without noticing we're living. We're constantly preparing for tomorrow instead of inhabiting today. The philosopher Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. At first, that sounds harsh, but perhaps he meant something gentler. Perhaps he wasn't talking about productivity. Perhaps he was talking about attention. Because attention is where life actually happens. Have you ever watched a sunset without reaching for your phone? Have you ever listened to rain without needing music? Have you ever truly looked at someone's face while they were speaking? Attention slows time, distraction speeds it up. Maybe the greatest thief of our lives isn't death, it's distraction. As children, everything fascinates us. A puddle, an insect, a cloud. We ask endless questions. Why is the sky blue? Why do leaves fall? Where does the moon go? Curiosity stretches every moment. Adults often stop asking, not because we know everything, but because we believe we've seen enough. Yet the world hasn't become less interesting. We simply become less surprised. And surprise is one of time's closest companions. Think about your favorite vacation. Maybe it lasted 7 days. Yet looking back, it feels enormous, packed with memories, conversations, meals, roads, laughter. Why? Because almost everything was unfamiliar. Your brain was awake, observing, collecting, recording. Now compare that to 7 ordinary days at home. Can you remember last Tuesday? Or the Tuesday before? Probably not. The difference wasn't the length, it was the attention. There's another reason time feels faster. As we age, we accumulate responsibilities. Children carry backpacks. Adults carry invisible ones. Careers, families, mortgages, expectations, regret, hope. Responsibility divides attention, and divided attention creates blurry memories. The busier we become, the less we notice. The less we notice, life, faster, seems to disappear. There is something bittersweet about realizing that one day your parents carried you for the last time. You just didn't know it. One day, you played outside with your childhood friends for the final afternoon. One day, your grandmother cooked your favorite meal without either of you knowing it. It was the last. Life rarely announces its final moments. It simply lets them happen, quietly. Then years later, memory whispers, "That was it?" Maybe that's why growing older feels emotional. Not because we're counting birthdays, but because we're slowly discovering how many last times were hidden inside ordinary days. Perhaps the greatest illusion about time is believing we have plenty of it. Not in the sense of years, but in moments. We assume there will always be another dinner, another phone call, another walk, another conversation, until one day there isn't. Not because life is cruel, but because life keeps moving. Like a river, it never pauses to tell us this moment matters. It simply flows. There is a Japanese idea called Mono no Aware, It roughly translates to the gentle sadness of impermanence, not despair, not grief, something softer, the awareness that everything is beautiful will eventually end. Cherry blossoms bloom for only a short time. That is precisely why people gather to admire them. If they lasted forever, would anyone stop to look? Perhaps impermanence is what gives beauty its value. Maybe time doesn't move faster. Maybe we simply notice its importance. When we're young, we spend time. When we're older, we understand that time has been spending us. And somehow, that realization makes every passing year feel lighter, faster, more precious. Here's something worth trying. Tomorrow, walk a different street, read a different book, cook something you never tasted, watch the sunrise, sit outside without headphones, call someone just to hear their voice, create one new memory, not because it would change your life overnight, but because novelty expands experience, and expanded experience often stretches time. Perhaps the secret to life slowing down isn't finding more hours, it's becoming more present inside the ones you already have. Notice the steam rising from your coffee, the breeze moving through the trees, the sound of someone laughing in another room, the warmth of sunlight on your skin. These moments seem insignificant until one day they're the memories you wish you had noticed. Imagine reading the final chapter of a beautiful novel. Would you rush through it, or would you slow down? Read each sentence carefully. Appreciate every page. Life may not tell us which chapter we're in, but perhaps that's exactly why every page deserves attention. One day, you'll look back on today, not this exact hour, not this exact minute, but this session or season of your life. The people around you, the version of yourself, listening to these words, the dreams you're chasing, the worries you keep awake. One day, this too will become a memory, a quiet photograph, stored somewhere in your mind. The question is, will you remember it because you truly lived it, or because it simply slipped unnoticed? So why does time feel faster as we age? Maybe because life becomes familiar. Maybe because routine compresses memory. Maybe because responsibility steals attention. Or maybe because we're finally beginning to understand just how valuable each ordinary day really is. Time has never been racing. It has always moved, 1 second at a time, patiently, faithfully, without hurry, without pause. Perhaps the only thing rushing has been us. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, remember this. Tomorrow will not ask you to slow time. It will simply ask you to notice it, to pay attention, to look up, to breathe deeply, to listen carefully. Because the moments that shape our lives rarely arrive with fireworks. They arrive like this one, quiet, ordinary, almost invisible, until years later, when we realize they were extraordinary all along. Thank you for sharing this quiet moment with me. I hope tonight reminded you that life isn't measured by the number of years we live, but by the number of moments we were truly awake enough to experience. Until next time, take your time. The clock will keep ticking, but your attention can make each moment feel infinite. Good night.